Good morning. I'm Harley Schlanger from the LaRouche organization with your daily video update for October 17th, 2024. Today I'm going to be discussing a somewhat painful topic, which is the deterioration of morality in government in the United States. It's unmistakable that what we're seeing with the Biden administration is complicity in genocide, pure and simple, and an apparent move to turn against the American people. I'm going to call your attention to one of the latest acts of attacking your constitutional freedoms, which was a directive issued by the Biden administration, allowing the Secretary of Defense to deploy the military to provide, quote, permissible assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities to support response efforts for civil disturbances, unquote. Well, using the military to attack the American people is how I read that statement. That this is a devastating move toward the next phase of a police state. We've seen since the war on terror began, the militarization of surveillance and the censorship policies of the government. And now we see more aggressive moves towards silencing opposition, shutting down debate. Now, at the same time, look what the Harris campaign is rolling out. They're featuring John Bolton and Mark Esper, the former Defense Department secretary from Raytheon. She's campaigning with Liz Cheney, celebrating the endorsement by Dick Cheney. This is a Democratic Party which is embracing the neocons. The only one missing is the visible presence of Victoria Nuland. Now, this should be quite troubling to Democrats, except that the Democratic Party has become the party of war, and unfortunately, many Republicans are still war hawks and completely dependent on the military, industrial, financial complex for their campaign contributions. Now, in terms of the war situation, let me point out there's a NATO defense ministers meeting today, and there will be a call there for NATO countries to deliver the 40 billion euros that were pledged at a recent meeting. Ukraine is desperate for money. Zelensky's on a panhandling tour across Europe in which he's presenting his so-called victory plan. But there was a poll made just back a month ago by the Kiev International Institute of Sociology, which said that 57% of Ukrainians want peace negotiations with Moscow. 57%. So who's being served by Zelensky's desire for more weapons and more money? Now, he's presenting this plan, which essentially has three parts. And he presented this before the Rada, the Ukrainian parliament, a couple of days ago. He said that the plan includes 1, an invitation to join NATO. 2, a lifting of restrictions on the use of long-range missiles from the US and UK to strike inside Russia. And 3, establishing joint weapons production in Ukraine. And what he offered in return was somewhat of a promise that Ukraine's rich mineral resources will be made available. Well, those are already probably in hock to Larry Fink of BlackRock. So what we're seeing is a desperate Zelensky pleading for more support at a point in which many people are war-weary in Europe. They realize that Ukraine cannot win, and many are starting to talk about the necessity for an agreement with Moscow. Now, meanwhile, in Israel, there's a new bombing campaign in Gaza. We're seeing the attacks in Lebanon, and it shows either the impotence or more likely the complicity of the Biden administration, the so-called collective Biden-Harris movement, and their complicity in genocide. And the administration is using political calculus rather than morality for the basis of their decisions. Here's what they fear. if they criticize Israel and move against Israel, they'll lose Jewish votes and Jewish support, as well as the support of the Christian Zionist faction in the United States. But if they don't criticize them, if they don't do something to protect Palestinians, they'll lose the Arab American votes, which could be crucial in a state like Michigan. Now, what's the gutless U.S. response, the typical U.S. official response to the Netanyahu invasion of Lebanon, the escalation in northern Gaza, and the threat to hit Iran? Well, there was a letter from Blinken and Austin. Blinken, who's basically a Madeleine Albright Brzezinski clone, and Austin, who's the Secretary of Defense from Raytheon, warning Israel that they must allow more humanitarian aid or face, quote, potential restrictions, unquote, on military aid. Now, U.S. law says that if you restrict humanitarian aid, you get cut off completely. But that's not what's being said. Even that weak statement from Blinken and Austin was walked back by a statement issued by the White House and State Department, where they issued a so-called clarification. Quote, it was not meant as a threat, unquote, and no action will be taken in the next 30 days. How many children will die in the next 30 days? How many more will be weakened and lose their immune system because of the lack of food and nutrition? The U.S. admits a 50% drop in deliveries. Now remember, Blinken is the one who went to Israel 9 times and said, we will support you, support your right to self-defense, but you have to recognize the humanitarian crisis and do something to work with us on that. And he keeps saying, we're working hard to get results. What are the results? More than 42,000 dead Palestinians. And now we're seeing a death toll rise in Lebanon. Now, the State Department spokesman, Matthew Miller, the one with the Dracula haircut, said that we are working hard to convince Netanyahu not to bomb Beirut. Well, apparently they're not succeeding in the same way they couldn't succeed in getting a ceasefire agreement. Yesterday, a bomb hit the town of Nabatea, which is a suburb of Beirut. It hit a municipal building and killed at least 6 people, including the mayor. Now in Lebanon, the death toll has reached 1,700, 1.2 million displaced. 1 out of every 4 Lebanese citizens has lost their home. Now, a statement was issued by Andrew Miller, who is a State Department official for Palestine, Israel-Palestine issues. He announced his resignation, and he said, quote, what we did regarding the Israel-Palestine situation had the effect of endorsing Israel's military campaign, unquote. Now, the Washington Post, and I don't usually cite them because they're mostly a propaganda sheet on behalf of Silicon Valley and Bezos, but they had an article on who in the administration is supporting the Lebanon invasion. And they list Blinken, Hochstein, Lloyd Austin, Brett McGurk, and Jake Sullivan. That's the security team of the Biden-Harris administration. All of them complicit in the extension of the Gaza genocide into Lebanon. Now, let me just finish by saying that some of you have been, a little bit taken aback that you think that I'm lecturing you for not doing enough. What I do with these updates is try to provide you with an updated, moment-to-moment picture of reality, and at the same time, encourage you to speak up, to let your voice be heard, to become an actor for the better part of the American system. Our viewers are mostly on the right side, but we need to be more vocal. And that's the purpose that I try to serve in putting together these updates. I appreciate the support from you. I urge you to look today. I'm going to have a link to the dialogue I did yesterday with Helga Zepp-LaRouche. And also I would encourage you to log on to the Zoom call of the International Peace Coalition this Friday at 11 a.m. If I don't have a link in the description box, you can find it later in the schillerinstitute.com website. So thanks for your support. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow.